Welcome to the Cabo Fishing Podcast, brought to you by Rancho del Pescador, Redrum Sportfishing, Mrabe, and Proyecto Pupila. I'm your host, Toby Nunn, and on this show, we are going to be taking you through all things fishing in the greater Los Cabos area of Baja California Sur. We're also going to be diving into some of the local attractions and culture here in the greater Los Cabos area. So come along and enjoy this time as we explore and visit one of the most special fisheries on the planet.
Well, I cannot talk about fishing without speaking about my father and how I was raised. Being born in the Pacific Northwest, northern British Columbia, near the Alaskan border, I spent my childhood chasing big fish, big salmon, big trout, big steelhead, and that love for big fish led me to faraway places, both with literature and then physically. It was reading Ernest Hemingway and Robert Louis Stevenson, going after big fish in exotic locations, that brought me to a desire to travel the world and go fishing. The fishery here in Cabo San Lucas, with these two large bodies of water, the Sea of Cortez and of course the greater one, the Pacific Ocean, coming together have created just this magnificent playground for the bait and all these game species of fish. It's such a special place that if you really want to go check your blocks of all these exotic and masterful fish, you must come here. My vision for the future is very bright. With the established good reputation and high standard and customer care and customer loyalty, we want to do more with that and expand on it and make it more comprehensive. You know, we always say we believe that we're in the great memory business. It just happens to be in the fishing industry. We want to take it past just the fishing industry. We want to take it into a layered business where your experience is catered and tailored to you from the time you book it to the time you return home. I'm Toby Nunn, owner of Redrum Sportfishing here in Cabo San Lucas.
Well, that was a cool little video produced by Proyecto Pupila, who's one of our sponsors, and super excited and flattered to have the opportunity to talk about some of our accomplishments and some of the things that we're doing here in Cabo San Lucas. On this episode, this will be the episode that airs on March 15th. You'll be able to find it on Spotify, Apple iTunes, under podcasts, as well as like on our Instagram at Redrum Sportfishing and at The Porch here on the social medias. I like saying the socials medias, but super excited to share with everyone all the cool things that happen down here at the end of the Baja Peninsula at Land's End. There's just some stunning vistas, some stunning views, but even better fishing. And that's really what we want to talk about. We want to talk about everything from catching the bait to what species are, more present at certain times of the year, best practices, lessons learned. Some people want to come and participate in some of the richest money tournaments that exist in the sport fishing world, and those are here in Los Cabos. And we can, give you an insider's view on how to do it, kind of help you crack that code and give you a cheat button in terms of signing up for it, or, learning about how to charter a boat, and also just what to do when you're in Cabo other than fishing. Now, for me, we could fish every day, 24 hours a day, but sometimes we got to eat what we catch, and we want to share with you some of the best restaurants and best places to take your fish or to go enjoy fish if you're just here, as well as some of the local culture that goes along with the preparation of that food, as well as some of the nightlife. Now, of course, we have our own nightlife with The Porch, and we want to share with you some of the great libations that have made our little spot famous. And, we want to give you the tools to enjoy a little bit of Los Cabos at home in between your trips from home to here. I'm Toby Nunn, and I'm going to be the host of this cool little show. A little bit about me. Born and raised in northern Canada along the Alaskan border, then immigrated into the United States, where I served the United States Army for almost a full career as an infantryman. And then afterwards, enjoyed a little bit of entrepreneurial work, and now I'm one of the owners of Rancho del Pescador, which owns Red Rum Sportfishing as well as Marvita. Came down here to Los Cabos, to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, in the Baja Peninsula at the very southern tip, so that I can live out my dream of being a professional fisherman. And now it's coming true. And as I learn more and do more here, I just want to share that journey with all of you and make it easier for you to plan the ultimate adventure in the Los Cabos area, especially if you're going to come fish one of the most exquisite and special fisheries on this planet. So we're already a couple months into the year 2023, and it's already been a pretty exciting year. Early January, the water temperature was still, strong in the 70s, and a local fishing area called Golden Gate, which is an underwater terrain feature, a little seamound that's coming off the Sierras that are on the peninsula out into the Pacific there, was yielding and just putting out a ton of marlin. The bait was all collecting near the top of the water, and the marlin were, congregating and schooling up around it, and it just was a frenzy. And we were super excited to get out there for the first couple weeks in January, because we were catching 10 marlin per boat per day. It was ridiculous. And of course, that sets a crazy expectation, because people come down and there's flags stacked up on the boats and everyone's catching fish, and you got people going in and putting on social media they caught 20, 30 marlin in a day, as well as going outside of the Los Cabos area, going further up to places like the Finger Banks, as well as going into places called Magdalena Bay, which we're going to do an entire episode specifically on fishing in Mag Bay. But the early part of the year was super exciting. There was some great tuna caught, there was some great mahi-mahi caught, but the marlin at Golden Gate at the beginning of the year was just crazy. It was wild. And we were burning the phones up, just letting our friends know how awesome it was, and people were rushing down here to hop on boats and go out there and enjoying that. And that's kind of happened the past couple years around January, where it's been really exciting. But when it shuts off, it shuts off. And a lot of that has to do with water temperature. As the water temperatures dropped out of the 70s and into the 60s, the prevalence of bait isn't as high, the bait kind of changes, and the fish kind of move to areas where they can find a little bit more warmer water. With that, we've been able to go and transition from the Pacific into the Sea of Cortez, and there's again another underwater terrain feature that we call Gordo Bank, and with that, it's been able to produce some pretty decent marlin. Now, not in the numbers that Golden Gate was doing in January. So during February, the numbers were a little bit thinner and a little bit leaner, but that's for sport fishing. And one of the cool things about this area is it yields more than just sport fish. It yields some of the most delicious fish. And during that time, we were able to get into some really cool grouper, as well as some other yellowtail, which is a really neat fish and delicious, as well as some of the other fish that hang out near the bottom, like triggerfish and the different types of groupers, sea bass. And then that's exciting, because then you get to take that to the restaurants and get it prepared in these delicious different ways, as well as take it to your house. One of the things that we like to do here is, because of the quick flights back to the United States, we're able to prepare the fish for transport. So if you fish with us at Red Rum, part of the things that you can experience is, not only do we clean the fish and do a really good job of preparing it for travel, we'll vacuum seal it, freeze it, and then you can return to the United States with that catch. And you can enjoy it for 3 to 6 months afterwards, depending on the species and how well it keeps in the freezer. So that's really exciting, and this time of year yields a lot of that. But I can't talk about this time of year without talking about one of the coolest events that happens on the planet. And it happens in the water, and it does involve big things with fins and tails that swim, but the humpback whale migration comes to the Los Cabos area, and it is one of the neatest nurseries for these large mammals, the humpback whales. And it's so neat to watch these family units, mom, dad, and these little toddlers splash around. And while we're out fishing, they are part of the backdrop, they're part of the experience. And while the fishing is slower this time of year in the throes of winter, you overlook it because you're surrounded by, one of the greatest creations on the planet, these huge mammals, and it's just a wonder to behold. And it's so neat to realize how small you are, even on a big boat, how small you are in the water with these beautiful creatures, and they really put on a show. We're very blessed that we always get to see porpoises. There's many different species of porpoises in the area, so we get to see porpoises in small groups and in larger pods and schools. But this time of year, especially, getting to see all the whales and not even have to go that far. And that's another thing that's so special about this fishery. When we talk about going out and fishing, we're not talking about traveling great distances. We're going very short distances, and it's great to be able to get out on a boat and within 30 minutes be in some of the most amazing fishing grounds on the planet. As always, the gear that we use for our boats is pretty specific to us in some cases, and in some cases it's just right over the counter. Our rods, all the rods on our boats are custom-made rods. They're made by a great Army veteran by the name of John Blue. Real Blue Custom Rods. He's out of Washington State, and he custom makes all our rods for all our boats for us, and we're really proud to support that veteran-owned business, as well as he's a good Army buddy of mine. We served in Iraq together, and it's just wonderful to share this fishing adventure with some of my closest friends, and be able to find ways for them to contribute into our adventure here. The gear, the quality is amazing. We also use a lot of different reels. Primarily we use Shimano, Penns, and Abbott reels, depending on what we're doing. This type of year, it's been a lot of the smaller Shimano reels, the 30s. We like the Talicas. It's a good quality product. And we're not running a ton of heavy line right now because the fish aren't as big as they are in the summer. So we've been using a lot of 40, 60, 80 pound tests, as well as monofilament leaders, which we usually buy in the US from American Fishing, AFW, American Fishing Wire, as well as sometimes Trick Fish. So we're really excited that this time of year we kind of get to mess around with light tackle, and as an angler it's a lot of fun because that fight can be a little more challenging because we're really testing our skill set by utilizing that lighter tackle. But none of that would be possible without the talent behind the team. And I'm the ugly one, and the El Guapos are the guys that are fishing on the 3 different boats every day, and I really am proud of those guys. They're family to us, and we love the opportunity that we have now to introduce them to you, because they're part of what makes the dream adventure, the dream vacation a reality. And so we're going to start off with one of my favorite guys. They're all my favorite guys, but Cali, which is his nickname, his real name's Alejandro. He's been fishing with the Red Rum banner for about 17 years. He's a great guy. He is the captain of Oso Blanco, which is one of our newer boats to the fleet, which is a 33 Blackfin. He used to be on our 33-foot Bertram, La Nueva, but he got promoted just due to his excellence and his ability to just work well with the boats and the people. And he's just a real special guy to us. His nickname on the dock, given to him by me, is Cinco Dias, because I am 5 days his senior. We were both born in July 1975, but I'm 5 days his senior, and I just love him. So here's a little bit about Captain Cali. Enjoy.
For me, the fishing was almost my life, because I will pass more time fishing in the land, in my house. I started when I was so young, when I have 13 years old. I started washing boat first, for 1 or 2 years, and then my friends, the old captains, they told me, hey, you want to go fishing with us? When I don't go to the school, like Saturday or Sunday, I come in early in the morning and go fishing with this guy, and they show me a lot. My name is Alejandro Aviles Rodriguez. So my nickname in the dock, everybody call me Cali, Captain Cali. And I'm from Cabo. I work here. I'm working with Red Rum because it's a very good company in Cabo. They got a lot of clients, and we working a lot. The year, we have a lot of charters. See, very, very fast boats. And beautiful too. The new owner, Toby, was the owner and was my friend too. That's how I feel, because he let me feel like that, because every time when I talk to him, he was very good with us and he take care of us, and I feel good working to the new boat. It's a personal boat to him, and he like got everything very nice one, very clean, and it's a good boat, and it's a new project for the company, and I think he got the same feel, the same passion for fishing, because sometimes he like go fishing with us. We show everything about the boat, and he want to help us. Just today he fished with us, and he grabbed the bill, the marlin. He want to do that like a second mate. He got a good passion. He take it to the boat, take a picture. He got memories in the hands and the arm. Yeah, he loved fishing. I know. I like all fish because it's different. So the most it's fun for me, and I like it. Was a marlin, any kind, blue, black, stripes, sailfish, because it's a beautiful fish. I love the fishing for marlin, and I like mostly because always we try to save. We try to take a picture and let them go, and I don't like kill the marlins. Much better just, and I love the fish, and we live for that fish because. So we kill all fish, all marlins we catch. Maybe in a couple years we don't catch nothing. We don't have fish to catch. Bisbee's Black and Blue tournaments and a Red Rum company. We're going like every year for 10 or 11 years, year by year. And bought tournaments, Black and Blue, and we do in October. And November we got a big tournament for tuna. And we're going to that's we do every year for maybe 12, 13 years. When you be in the tournament, don't matter what's 200 boats, so you'll be there, you got a chance. Everybody got a chance. That's what we do. That every time in the morning, you got a feeling. You say, I want to go there on this part or some bank, like an 95 bank or Gordo bank, because you feeling. So you go there, maybe you got a chance to catch a big one up there. So you got a good luck, and one good day you can catch a big fish and win the tournament. It's more better when you do something you like and pay you for that. My name is Cali. I work for Red Rum Company, and I am captain to the Oso Blanco, 33 blackfin boat, very nice one. When AC, everything. When you guys want to come fishing to Cabo, come fishing with us. I'm ready for here. We are ready.
As we get deeper into the spring and into the summer, I'm really excited about the changing in water temperatures. As it gets warmer, so does the size of the fish, and the presence of the larger billfish species come. It's super exciting to target and go after these large blue and black marlin, as well as sailfish. Sailfish, all the billfish, but they're just such a gorgeous, pretty fish. It's so neat to see them in the water and know that you got this apex predator, and they're absolutely a worthy opponent. Just love going after the blues and the blacks. And with that, is the preparation for the tournaments. And we're pretty excited about, how we fare up in terms of competing and being competitive in these tournaments. If you're interested in fishing a tournament with us, we still have some availability for some of the upcoming tournaments in 23. The Bisbee East Cape is already sold out. I believe the Pelagic is as well, but there's still the opportunity for the Los Cabos Offshore by Bisbee, as well as the International Billfish, as well as the Bisbee Black and Blue. I believe we still have a boat available. And then there's always, as always in November, is the Tuna Jackpot. but we'll talk about that as that gets closer. If you're interested in fishing during the summer, make sure that you book as soon as possible. We're already pretty booked up for the summer at Redrum Sportfishing, so if you're interested in doing that, try and book a year out if you know that you're going to do that. That way you can select the boat and the time that you really want to go and go after, and we can help you chase down that Hemingway moment, that great adventure of the large billfish. But other than that, we're excited to host you, and I hope you're enjoying the show. And I look forward to a lot of these conversations with some of the local fishermen, as well as some of the other subject matter experts, especially like Gray's Taxidermy, as we work with them on a conservation program for tagging fish, as well as like looking at some of the local things with some of the biologists to understand this fishery more. So come along and enjoy the show with us. As you know, there's more to Cabo San Lucas than just fishing. And one of our favorite things to do is, after we catch fish, is to eat fish. There's a lot of great places in Cabo that you can do that. But I want to highlight with this episode one of my favorite places, one of my favorite guys here in Cabo, a guy I met years ago, and I've been enjoying his food for many years, my good friend Pete. Pete, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Pete Mrabe. I born and raised in San Francisco. I have a few restaurants in San Francisco, and Chubby Noodle's one of them. I've got a Mexican restaurant in San Francisco that's similar to Mother Flour called Don Pisto's on a larger scale, and
Mother Flour here.
Mother Flour here, Chubby Noodle here, Chubby Noodle in San Francisco, and Don Pisto's in San Francisco.
And then soon next door, there's going to be Baby Flour.
Baby Flour, yes.
Pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a taqueria featuring our house-made flour tortillas. We're going to be doing burritos, seafood tostadas, and desserts.
So you've had a lot of different influences that have brought, that you've brought all these different flavors here to Cabo. You spent time in Rosarito, like that's your style of taco.
Yes.
You make your own tortillas.
Yes, I spent a lot of time in Rosarito and Tijuana. San Francisco and San Diego all have their own style of Mexican food, so a lot of that's folded into this, but the main, I would say the main influence on this menu is Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, Northern Baja.
One of the things that I really kind of like about your restaurants and your menus, you have these amazing flavor profiles, this great collection of textures, but everything's so simple. Like, it's not brain surgery. Your menu's easy to read, it's easy to follow, but some of my favorite dishes that I've ever had, have been in your facilities. I might have a small addiction to the barbecue oysters.
I think we got an order coming out.
Yeah, I might have more than a small addiction. It might be an affliction.
Yeah.
I might need it daily for medicinal purposes, but it makes you strong. How long have you been here in Cabo?
I've been visiting Cabo about 15 years now, living full-time the past couple years, and back and forth between San Francisco and here for, like I said, about 15 years.
Is there something specific about Cabo and the culture of Los Cabos that has made you want to stay here more than going back and spending more time in your hometown? Obviously, you're choosing this place over. There's something about this Los Cabos area that you like more than other places?
I love the locals here. I don't think there's a town I've been to that it's as fun as Cabo when it comes to the people that live here, work here, and visit here. I also like it because I'm from a city and I'm used to walking everywhere, and it's sort of a beach town with that vibe where I can walk around, where I don't need to drive or take the bus.
In fact, that's usually how we spend most of our time together. Was like on your morning walks.
Yeah.
You would stop by my shop and we'd have a cup of coffee and
Be real.
and hang out.
Wasn't a cup of
Well, all right. We drank beer. We drank beer, but who are we to tell that we're drinking beer at 6:30 in the morning? We're not. You're sober now, so.
Yeah.
And I should
for
be.
one more month.
For one more month. Some of the influences food-wise locally, you try to use things from the area. What's something from this area that you use specifically in this restaurant?
The clams would be the best example of that. They're the chocolate clams that are local here. I've never seen them anywhere else. Where they're this size, this texture. So we definitely try and use those at both restaurants.
They're big too.
They're big,
Yeah.
yeah. The texture is not like a clam you would get from Maine or Canada. It's very different. So I really like the clam for a raw dish here. The oysters are local from the Pacific, and we do barbecue oysters with those. We use local sea bass for our taco, and we try and go as available as possible here, seasonal as well.
But a lot of people forget that we're 1,000 miles away from civilization, and to get fresh things here from other locations is really hard. Yeah. So necessity is the mother of invention, and there's some amazing you can't compete with the tuna here. You can't compete with the mahi here. The sea bass is amazing here. The grouper's really good. The clams, the chocolatas, they're out of this world. It really must be exciting, for a chef like yourself to have these things at your disposal to just experiment and find new flavors and new profiles with.
Definitely. In San Francisco, I'm able to order anything I want and have it at my fingertips the next morning. So here is a little bit more fun playing around with what we have here and creating new stuff with things I've never seen before.
I mean, I can think of at least 4 or 5 different times I've brought something in and been what can we do with this? And you're like, hold tight.
Yeah.
And then, 4 hours later, a wheelbarrow comes and gets me and takes me out because I'm fat. I love it. That's one of my favorite things about being here in Cabo is the ability, because it is still, like you said, it's a sleepy little beach community, and you can still, do things and enjoy things that are fresh and wild, and get FaceTime. You get FaceTime.
And it's really cool having Pescadero up the road with all the seasonal vegetables and just how fresh everything is here when it comes to things that are here. We're getting a little bit more availability of bringing things in from other places, but I think the things that are coming from here are really nice.
People don't realize, but just up the highway is Pescadero, where there's some amazing agriculture up there. Yep. The soil coming off the Sierras and kind of washing down that sediment, the minerals is really fertile land, and a lot of the mint, the spinach, a lot of this lettuce and stuff is coming from right here. Tomatoes, strawberries, amazing fresh produce coming from right here, which makes it pretty cool.
Definitely.
You have a pretty decent bartender. And when I say pretty decent, I mean he's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Do you give him and Frankie and these guys, how do you inspire them to be like you?
I think we try things out together, make mistakes obviously, and when I'm not just creating things on my own, I'm doing things, they're tasting, giving me their input. With the cocktails, I have no clue, so that guy's the master.
Is it because you're sober?
No, it's because I spend more time drinking than I do pouring drinks. But I gave my idea of what I wanted the cocktail vibe to be, but I did not write any of those recipes. All Aaron.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Aaron's brother Abraham, that is our bar manager at Chubby Noodle, and his partner Jardy, that works at Cox Cantina, helped us with this. So
Jardy's good. Yeah.
Thank you, Cox. Thank you, Abraham.
Yeah. Shout out to Cox Cantina.
Yeah.
Shout out to Roasted.
Yeah.
but Aaron's amazing. Some of the best cocktails I've had in town. And then last night, my wife and I, we ate at your other restaurant, Chubby Noodle, and some amazing cocktails there. The gin and juice. I mean, like just simple things like that are just, turned up.
Yeah.
I love it. The old blackberry whiskey, that was pretty solid. Anything you want to share with our audience about coming to Cabo? Things to look forward to, foods that you would recommend to eat here more than anywhere else?
Definitely the seafood places are a lot different here. They've got a lot of Sinaloa, Mazatlan influence, and very different from Northern Baja. I actually love the seafood places here. Tres Islas, Centenario, Pata Salada, all favorites of mine. I also really like the innovation the chefs have here. Sur Beach Club, Bar Esquina, all the different things they're doing, like really pushing their creativity more than I've seen at other cities, because they have more time, they have more passion.
So, Pete, that's like one of the things that I think you and I are a lot alike on, and you just rattled off like 10 businesses in town that are great places, and I think you and I share in that a rising tide raises all boats, and like we're here for Cabo, we're here to promote Cabo, and it's not just us, it's like this town and what it offers, and I love that, and I appreciate you taking the time to shout them out and like help us tell everyone's story.
Yeah, and I would be too long of a session for me to shout out everybody, but I think that everyone has their specific thing here that makes it really fun to eat and drink in Cabo.
Well, let's have some fun then.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's eat and drink.
Start off with these local clams.
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect.
So,
what an interesting cocktail you have, Toby.
beer. It's only 6:30 in the morning, Pete. Why are you judging? All right. So what we got here, Pete?
So these are the local chocolate clams in a ponzu that has shallots, serrano, habanero, a little bit of rice cooking wine, and light soy.
All right, how do we eat it?
You eat it. Just grab a shell and dig in. Go.
I don't know what to do with my hands. And these are from here.
They are.
Right here. They're amazing. I love it. That's one of the cool things about here is like, this is from here, right from here. And they're called chocoladas because they have that chocolatey type texture.
I don't know why they're called chocoladas, but they're good.
I can eat them like chocolate. Yeah, and local divers like go down, pluck these, and they end up here. How cool is that, right? Like, anytime you know where it originated and you know where it ended up, like, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. That's amazing, man. Well done.
No, I love that.
So, I have a serious affliction in life, and it's your barbecue oysters. Since you introduced them into my life, I probably have them 5 times a week, at least.
Yep.
Tell us about them.
So these barbecue oysters are sort of a mix of something I had at a steakhouse in Vegas and local flavors. So I had barbecue oysters. I can't remember where it was in Vegas, but they had a similar flavor balance as these. And I swapped out that barbecue sauce and made it Mexican with the chipotle, with a little bit of tequila, garlic. So they're pretty simple. It's just a butter, tequila, chipotle, garlic, and that's about it.
Is it the tequila that I'm addicted to?
No,
It's the oyster.
I think it's the butter.
It's the butter.
Yeah.
It's the butter.
Yeah.
No, these are one of my favorite dishes. I've told you 100 times. This is the best cooked oyster I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
I have, as you know, too often.
Thank you, Toby.
Oh, I love it.
I think
bud.
we should have one.
Yeah. I'm like, this is like, you're supposed to do this, but every time I eat them the right way, half it ends up in my sunglasses. And Smith would not approve. But man, these are the best. I love them. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time to share with us like some of the inspirations that you have here in Cabo, some of the things that brought you here, and one of the reasons why I love coming here and why we're friends.
Thank you very much, Toby.
My dude, man.
Yep. All right.
See you soon.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. We look forward to seeing you on the future episode. But even more than that, we enjoy looking forward to seeing you here in Los Cabos. Hope you can come down and join us. We're always ready to host people. So book your flights, book your fishing, and let us know. Tight lines and good vibes. We'll see you guys soon. I probably redo that because I was like, shout out. Finger guns.
No one's forcing me to say it.
No. All right, ready?